thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm going to make sure that you guys have the best time.
That every situation that is coming my way is my karmic account, and my power lies in the present moment.
Wherever I went, people were talking about stress management.
Yes.
I don't require a holiday because every day is a holiday.
I feel connected to people everywhere in the world. I haven't once felt I'm meeting someone who's a stranger.
A lot of very interesting women encouraged me to run for office.
I have never felt that there was any difference between me playing a Ganesh stuti on my tabla or going and reciting the Quran.
My reputation was torn to shreds.
She's Hindu, I'm Catholic.
If you want to do something path-breaking, then you have to take the risk.
And obviously I don't talk to people.
Tell us more about that too.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if food could feed our souls? Wouldn't it be wonderful if food had the power to make a child hungry for education? And wouldn't it be wonderful if this food would never run out? We wondered the same. And this kindled the birth of Akshaya Patra, the inexhaustible pot of food.
Welcome to Chai with Manju. The focus of our interview today is giving back in life, and we're going to meet some special people today and find out what motivates them. Our guests today are Mr. Jit Saxena, a well-known entrepreneur and philanthropist, and the powerhouse CEO of Akshaya Patra Foundation USA, Vandana Tilak. Akshaya Patra, of course, is one of the world's largest midday meal provider, MGO, and they serve 1.7 million children across 12 states in India. Let's meet them. Welcome, guys. So we're going to start with you, Jit Saab. So tell us why and how did you get involved with Akshaya Patra?
Well, I think it is fairly simple. I was introduced to Akshaya Patra by Desh in a fairly simple manner. And we talked about it. We talked about the need. Of course, everybody can relate to the need. And I thought I should get involved with this organization.
Okay. And what are some of the joys it has brought in your life? Or what are some of the things that inspire you?
So when as you well know, Manju, there are so many causes in the world. Mm-hmm. And many of us who have been fortunate enough to be able to at least contribute a little bit of our time or our resources to these causes, that gives a lot of pleasure, right? It is, in fact, it gives me more pleasure to do this than anything I might have done in the business world.
Oh, that's wonderful. And do you have any certain goals or certain missions, something you want to see, especially while we have CEO's ear right there?
So clearly, you cannot address all the needs that are out there. So I tend to focus on things that have touched me in my own life or the life of my family. And they are at the intersection of children, education, of course entrepreneurship, and I try to address those issues to the best I can. And Akshaya Patra happens to have the intersection of both education and the needs of the people who need that education.
Absolutely, and you can't study on an empty stomach,
right.
For sure.
Of course.
So now you have been an amazing CEO, 18 months and counting. So what are some of the achievements or what are some of the things that you wanted to do and have been able to do in the last 18 months?
I think the first and most important thing is to build a really good team.
Right.
And if you want to grow, you need to invest in people. You
Right.
need to invest in technology. You need to invest in good practices of how to you want to grow. And we have been very fortunate that in the last 18 months we have been able to find some amazing talent that is very passionate about the cause. That is, I think, much more important than anything else you can talk. And the team is ecstatic, they're enthusiastic, they're working long hours, and it's a very interactive, helpful team. So that, I think, is the key. Technology-wise, we have changed the website. It's a good idea to go and check it out. But also about how we process our guests at events, have to thank them. All those smaller details that are super important when it comes to building relationships.
Absolutely. And the Boston chapter, of course, is very strong.
Very strong, yes.
Yes. And I also like that it's not just one big event that you do. You've come here often and you do several events in a year, small get-togethers. Last night also we had a get-together, and you are so hands-on. So that's wonderful. Now, any other goals that you have or something special that you want to do?
There are quite a few, and I think we started with a great team, so the rest is all just work.
Right.
But it's always, I always say, do the right thing and do them right.
Absolutely.
So we have kind of started working where Akshaya Patra is now the global leader.
Yes.
Uncontested. We just received the BBC's award as Global Food Champions of the World. And it's before you pat yourself on the back, there's still a lot of work to be done. So we were at a forum. We are getting out into the lot of the mainstream places where food is being discussed, where food sustainability is discussed, where hunger, poverty, all these things. And the surprising thing was that a lot of people who are in this field do not know Akshaya Patra. And at first I was sad, but then I was also happy because there's a lot more that can be done. It's not. So we're doing that. And so we are starting TAP forums this year. We have a big event coming up in the Bay Area in November. And hopefully we should get a lot of attention. And attention brings a lot of encouragement and validation to grow.
And I've been part of the Akshaya Patra committee now for over 10 years. And one thing that I really like and which I feel also distinguishes Akshaya Patra from other organizations locally is that you try to involve everyone. Like you have so many programs. You have the Youth Ambassador program. My daughter was a Youth Ambassador. And when some of these young kids go to India, see the well-run kitchens, they get inspired and they want to give back as well. And then even at your events, you have these kids come up and talk about their experiences. So you're bringing the community together as well. So I think that's a really good byproduct.
Yes.
Right?
I think Vandana made an excellent point. The difference between a non-profit and a for-profit organization is not that much. The criteria, at least for me, to get involved with either a for-profit startup or for a non-profit are the same. The criteria is the same. You need the initial passion, but then you need to build the team, and then you need to build a culture of innovation with technology and so on for it to scale. And the beauty of this organization has been that at least from the time period that I've been involved with Akshaya Patra, which is probably about 6 or 7 years, it has scaled in a very sort of transparent fashion with good processes, with good governance, and that is very important to me because the problem is, or the mission is huge, and you cannot address that mission without having the proper governance, transparency, team, and the continued passion. And I see that, and that's what attracts me to Akshaya Patra, and has continued. That attraction has continued, and I think as long as those issues and the way they are being addressed continue, I'll be with Akshaya Patra for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and you recently received an award about that too, about what you was talking about, the transparency. What was that one?
So we have been getting the Gold Shield Award whenever we have applied. for excellence in accounting from the Indian Accountants Association. But we also got one for our annual reports, which is a worldwide competition on some of the best annual reports presented, non-profit and for-profit. But what Jit was saying was so true. Our biggest donors in the US and in India are completely people who coming from the corporate world who see such similarities between what they think is important, what a non-profit should be doing. And fortunately, we have attracted that kind of talent in India and here. India especially, everybody is from the corporate side, very few from the development side. In that same regard, I want to kind of acknowledge what he said. He's also put his money where his mind is, I would say. That once you see that synergy, he has funded our Panvel kitchen. And that should be up and running in December, inaugurated in January. So
that's a big landmark, right?
Yes,
right?
It is just a natural thing to do. It is whatever little I can do to sort of extend the mission in various areas of the country and maybe someday even outside of the country is just great. I feel so good about it to be able to do
And I missed that. Where is this kitchen going to be?
This is Panvel outside Mumbai.
Yeah, so now, do you have any roots in that area?
Well, yes.
Because I know she did one in Thane, right?
No, it is when it comes to roots. So we have lived all over India because my father was in the railways. But the two places where I got most of my education was in Agra and then Mumbai. I started my education in Mumbai, I finished my education in Mumbai. So in a way you could say that it is close to my heart. The rest of my education was in Agra. But irrespective of that, as Vandana once pointed out to me, is the problem is not Agra or Mumbai or Nagpur or anywhere else. It is all over the country and maybe the rest of the world. So,
but kabhi-kabhi jab dil mein
you're absolutely right. It's absolutely right. And that's how the discussion had started about Panvel, right? And I'm thrilled that in a few months we'll have the kitchen.
Next trip to Mumbai, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, right. We certainly will. Yeah.
And so, anything exciting coming up in near future that you want to share with the viewers?
When we had announced the Panvel kitchen, right after that we got the message from India that we are opening 11 new kitchens in the next 30 days.
Oh my goodness!
In just the next 30 days. So
such a huge undertaking.
Yeah, so we are doing that, and I cannot. I fully sympathize with the operations team for pulling that off, but I think it's time that these things happen, and there are a lot of things that happen that we hear about, but these are one of the things that go right. It's time to celebrate that. Right. It's time to speak about it. It's time to glorify the children who are doing so well because they are eating well. So I, personally, I think every day, I wake up and I say, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. How did I get here?
And I think, having worked with so many charities and what I read also, when good people put their name and they work behind it, somehow their pure intentions, the universe gets aligned. And
good things
happen. And I think that's what has happened with Akshaya Patra. So we are excited, and tell our viewers if they want to get involved with Akshaya Patra, how they can do that.
Sure. So our website is foodforeducation.org. And please visit. There's always a counter of how many billion meals we have served, 3 billion to date. And please come to our events, hear about us, go visit our kitchens, and you can always know more on the website and get to kind of question us about a few things. We are open to that also.
And recently, even Prime Minister Modi ji had been part of serving an Akshaya Patra meal, right?
Yeah, he served the 3 billionth meal. Yes, and in Vrindavan, and that was a massive event.
Yes. So thank you so much, and may you go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you.